So today I want to talk about something that I hope might help someone if you are stuck in your fitness journey or you want to get started and you just haven't found your flow or you haven't gotten consistent yet. I hope my story can motivate you to keep going or to even start. So 6 months ago, I was not in the best shape. I was actually in the worst shape that I've been in a while. I did not feel like I was walking my walk. I didn't feel like the best version of me at all. I just was not, it was not it. It was embarrassing to myself because I just felt like I wasn't living up to my standard, and I felt like I had failed at this over 5 year journey that I've been on. And especially when, I make a living from it, I had to kind of look at myself and be like, okay, walk your walk. What I did was I looked back at my whole journey, right? And just a long story short explanation, I grew up playing sports, different sports, and then I committed to one sport when I was around 17 or 18. And this was the sport that I ended up going very competitive with. I grew up knowing the importance of performance. I grew up knowing the importance of what you eat and, like the time that you put into practice. So I feel like movement was a part of my life, like really, really early. And I'm also an only child, so I was outside a lot by myself and I had to find ways to keep myself busy, which usually meant, doing sprints outside or doing things like playing basketball by myself. When I was 17, I decided that I was going to try out for the national team for VAA or outrigger paddling, which is the sport that I decided to commit to. That year in summer, I contracted bacterial meningitis. And so I was put in the hospital. I had to relearn how to walk because I could not walk. My hip and my neck and my shoulder on my right side were so inflamed that I could not be in any position that wasn't like this. Like I was crunched up the whole time because that's the only position that gave me the least amount of pain. And I was kind of stuck like that for a good 2 to 3 weeks. So I was going from being really, really active to bedridden. And the doctors told me that I wouldn't be able to walk for about 6 months. I was on crutches by the time they let me out of the hospital. And I was like, fuck that. No way. There's no way, I was planning on trying out for the national team that year. So I made it a point to tell myself that, no, you're going to be able to walk. You're going to be able to run. Like you have to be able to by October because that's when tryouts were. And I got let out of the hospital in August. So fast forward, I proved them wrong. I ended up walking and running by October. So that kind of taught me the power of my mind and like telling myself that if I tell myself that I can do something, I know I can do it or I can find a way to do it and my body will catch up. And of course, there's certain limits to that. Like you shouldn't injure yourself. But it really showed me at that age that my mind is very powerful. And then fast forward, that was kind of my whole rehab journey, right? I was able to make the national team, but I was still dealing with the residual pains of the meningitis. So up until this point, I'm still dealing with certain limitations, and I don't want to call them limitations, more like imbalances, like part of my body is a lot stronger than the other because for so long I had to compensate. At that point, I was also in college, so I was studying political science and specifically Indigenous politics and Indigenous health. And then when I told myself when I graduate college, I'm going to invest in my PT cert and I'm going to launch my coaching business, and which is what I did. So 2021, launched my coaching business and I started coaching full-time. Started working for myself full time. And from that point until now, about 4 years, I've been up and down with my fitness journey in the sense that I've gotten into the best shape of my life. I've gotten into the best athletic shape of my life. Like I still paddle competitively. But then in 2025, last year, I had a chronic neck strain that I was dealing with that goes back to the whole imbalances thing. Like it was just years of unresolved injury that pushed me back a lot. I spent the whole year in and out of being injured to the point where I couldn't paddle at all, couldn't do any upper body movements at all. And then I would kind of heal and then get back into it too quickly. And then the cycle went on. And that kind of led to the point of like from last year, November, to the beginning of this year, where I was not in good shape at all because I had to force myself to rest and to deal with this injury that I didn't want to deal with because I'm not used to being not in the shape that I expect myself to be in. But the rest did help. My strain is pretty much resolved by now. I really had to step back from paddling. I really had to, focus on going inward and realizing that I am not the way my body looks. I am not my athletic career. I am not my performance. Like, there is more to me than that, which is a whole other video and a whole other story. But my whole point in telling you this is at that point in January where I saw myself and I was like, this is not it. I'm not letting myself get any further from my standard than this. Which, like I said, it might not look that bad to anyone, but it wasn't about the looks. It was more about who I felt I was and what I felt I was able to do, because I kind of let the injury take me away from doing the things that I could do. Like, I could have been working out consistently or more consistently, just not doing the things that would exacerbate the injury. I could have been staying active in other ways. I could have been watching my nutrition a little bit more. So there's a lot of things that I kind of had to introspect or reflect on. From that point in January to now I'm at a much better place with my physique. I actually feel like I'm in some of the best shape that I have been in, and it's just the start too, because that whole first part of the year I was like, okay, let's just focus on this injury, let's focus on rehabbing, let's focus on getting consistent with the things that we need to. And this is my point of this video, is to talk to you about my approach to fitness that I've developed over these years, and hopefully save you some time so you don't have to go through 5 years of being off and on and inconsistent and figuring things out, right? You can do within the span of 6 months, within the span of a year, and change your entire physique, change your entire mindset, change your entire life. Like, if you really locked in and focused on these things that I'm about to talk about, you can truly change everything. Because I feel like I changed everything, but it took me a lot longer than it should take. So now let's go get into the actual thing that I need to talk about, right? Like, let's get into the steps. Let's get into the things that you guys want to know. I'm going to make it sound very simple, but that's the point, because the simpler it is, the easier it is for you to execute, and your brain will kind of be like, oh, if it's really that simple, then the only thing stopping me is me, right? Or the only thing stopping me is my mindset toward it. So step one is you're going to master the basics. Don't underestimate how far this can take you, because I think we all try and do so much. We all try and do so many things at once, try and change so many things at once, and we forget the basics, or we don't even know what the basics are. With all the content and fitness shit on social media, it's easy to think that fitness is all of these things that you see people living, but like I said, took us years to get to. And if you're just starting out, those shouldn't be the things that you're thinking about, because we didn't start out that way. Most fitness people, most coaches, they didn't start off at level 5, which is where we are now, right? They started off at level 1. Like, even if you've been consistent with your fitness, this also applies to you if you just have not committed to a structured program, have not gotten yourself a coach. Say, learn the basics, master the basics. These are the basics I need you to think about. Sleep, stress, hydration, nutrition, movement, and mindset. Not necessarily in that order, but those are the basics. Those are the things that we're going to boil everything down to. So starting with sleep, we're kind of going to audit ourselves. We're going to be an analyst, not a critic. We're going to analyze what we've been doing and see what's not working for us, see what we haven't been focusing on or need to improve on. Are you sleeping enough? Are you prioritizing sleep? And this is one thing that I need to emphasize, is that your body does not change during the workout. Your body changes in the recovery. Your body changes. You don't build muscle in the workout. You build muscle as a result of your body or your muscles needing to recover from the strain that it went through during the workout. So you can't change. And this is something that took me forever to learn, because like I said, I had that athlete mindset. I had that, I don't sleep, like I need to train 24/7. I had that mindset for a long time, and it got me injured, and it got me not in the best performance that I could have been, right? Like, do the small things, do the Maybe I'm going to sleep 10 minutes earlier. Maybe I'm just going to focus on, this is one thing I have my clients do, is focus on just at least getting the same wake and sleep times. So even if you can't get that 7 to 8 hours, can you at least sleep and wake up at the same times every single day, or around the same times every single day? So that's something you can do. Next is hydration. Am I hydrating enough? Basic, right? Like we grow up hearing that. We grow up, drink your water. Like, yeah, that's a basic, but we forget a lot. And if you forget a lot, then maybe that's something you need to prioritize. Next one is stress. And this one's a big one, because especially for females, especially for women, when a lot of times when we're going through a lot of stress, that affects a lot of things, that hinders our ability to see results, especially in terms of fat loss. The nervous system does not feel safe to recover. How can you see changes? Like I said, your body changes in the recovery. If you're nervous, if you're trying to sleep, but you're constantly stressed out, so you can't get good sleep or deep sleep, there's something we need to work on there. Yes, maybe you might have a stressful job. Maybe you're a mom. Maybe I work with women who are going through all these things. I have my job. Running a business is pretty stressful, right? But there are certain things that we can do and that we can focus on, little things that make a big difference, right? Like, can you do 10 minutes of breath work? Can you do 10 minutes of meditation? Can you learn a little bit more about your nervous system and how to regulate it? Put your phone down 10 minutes before you're supposed to start winding down for the day. Can you not look at your phone right when you wake up? Those are all things that don't require much extra time. We just need to prioritize doing them. This is nutrition. So a lot of us try and cut things out, try and do this fasting stuff, try and do all of these different things, but we don't even know what we're eating every single day. If I asked you, what did you eat consistently for the past week? Could you tell me what you are consuming daily? Do you even know what macros are? Do you even know what your portion sizes are, what they should be, right? Like those little nutrition things. Like, let's not even go to cutting things out. Let's go to the basics of, am I getting enough fiber? Am I getting enough protein? Am I eating out too much? Am I eating too many processed foods? Those are all things we need to analyze. And if you are, then what are the little things you can do? Maybe it's, I'm going to prioritize cooking at home this week. I'm going to just look at my portions, even if I'm eating out. That's the one thing I have my clients do as well. Is like, if you don't have the time to meal prep, or if that's too much, or it sounds too stressful to you, then at least focus on your portions. At least focus on that when you're eating out. So even if you are eating out, you're at least getting a meal that has a source of veggies, a source of protein, a source of good carbs. Just make sure your plate has those things. Next is movement. And with this, we don't want to implement a routine. I'm going to say this, emphasizing this point as well. We don't want to implement a routine that we cannot sustain past a month. We don't want to implement a movement routine that we can't sustain long term, or we can't see ourselves sustaining long term. This is why having active hobbies is really important. It's a form of movement that you actually will enjoy going to. Or do I move consistently throughout the day, or am I more sedentary? That's another thing. If you just were to prioritize getting up and walking for a few minutes every few hours at work, that would make a big difference. Sedentary lifestyles make a huge difference in our health, and there's a lot of science and statistics that I don't have memorized right now, but you can look it up for yourself. Being sedentary is one of the biggest things that can affect your health, your physique, your mental health. Have a sedentary lifestyle. I would just focus on moving a little bit more. And of course, strength training. There's no too late to start strength training. You should start implementing it at least 3 times a week. That we kind of went through the basics. I know that was a very generalized approach to it, but I don't want to overwhelm you. It's just, I want to give you a good idea of the things that you can be focusing on. Step 2 is going to be attack each one by one. So we're not going to try and do all of that at once. We are going to choose the ones that are easiest for us to implement right now. And that is what I had to do for myself too. I had to look at all those basics and be like, okay, which one am I not doing? Which one am I falling behind on? Step 3 is going to be get someone to hold you accountable. Hire a coach. I am a coach, and I have hired coaches for myself. Can't afford a coach right now, then at least get someone in your life, your partner, your best friend, whoever, your mom. Get them to hold you accountable. Tell them, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to prioritize my body and my health. I'm going to see changes. and I need you to be asking me about this. I need you to be, reminding me about it. And to continue on that accountability piece, I just wanted to show you that these are some of the women that I work with and that have done my challenges. So I run 30-day challenges through my app, my coaching app, and we give them everything they need. We give them the accountability. You have a real coach, so it's not like a robot or an AI that's checking in on you. We have a real accountability coach who is checking in on you every single week. We have a community group, and it's just it's something that I wish I had. A lot of them work full time. Our moms work full time, and our moms I've worked with business owners. I've worked with women who have multiple jobs. I also do one-on-one coaching, and that is just if you want that extra level of personalization and accountability, because you get to work directly with me. We have calls every week so that I can answer your questions. I can specifically give you steps to do if you're struggling in any specific areas. So that's really good if you really want to invest and, just take that next step. Let's also just talk about objections, because I want to talk about the excuses that people say that I have said to myself, and hopefully that'll help you deal with your own excuses and your own objections toward doing this thing that is going to make your life better, that is going to make every other part of your life better. Because I noticed that for a lot of people, they kind of know, they kind of know that if I get my body right and I'm more confident, then other parts of my life will also improve. So one of the main objections that I get from people is money, right? Main objection. Like, that is by far the main objection is, oh, I just can't afford it right now, maybe later. I've made that objection before too. Coaching can get really expensive, I know. But is it worth it? Yeah. I had to remind myself that this is a return on investment for my future self. When I invested in coaching, not just for fitness, but also in business, when I invested in coaching, when I invested in having someone by my side helping me, telling me what to do, even if it wasn't, I've invested in some bad programs too. And even with that, I still learned something. But if you know that this is going to change your life, then it's just a matter of priority, right? We will spend on the things that we prioritize. A lot of times we spend on the things that will give us immediate satisfaction, immediate comfort. We will buy that coffee every single day, or we will buy that round of drinks every Friday, or we will buy that dress because it's immediate, right? It's, what you're getting. Whereas this, you kind of have to pay to put in work yourself. But the return on investment is so much better than all those things that just give you immediate satisfaction. The next objection that I always get is time. I just don't have enough time. Life's busy right now. You invest in this right now when you're busy, and you make it work when you're busy. It'll just be that much easier to do when you're not busy. And I know you hear all the coaches say that, but it's because it's true. If you can find a way to prioritize yourself, to take care of yourself, to prioritize your fitness when you have a lot of shit going on, when life slows down a little bit, you can remember, if I did this with all of that stuff going on, then I can continue to do this when I don't have so much on my plate. Things you invest your time in is what you're going to get back. Where you put your focus is where you'll see change. So if you keep putting it off and you keep saying oh, I just don't have enough time, I'll figure it out later, la la la, then you're not going to see a change. You're not going to see a change, and it's probably going to compound, and you're probably going to deal with the effects later. That's how it works. You don't get the result without investing time and money, or just time. Another thing is that if you do invest the money, but you don't invest the time, if you get a program and you don't commit to it, you don't decide that you are going to go all in on this. And I feel like that's even worse, because then you just invested money in something and didn't get your return on investment. So if you are dealing with that, then it's really coming back to something really simple, which is something I had to tell myself too, is that I have to decide that this is going to work. I have to decide that this is going to be the thing that works. I have to decide that I am going to succeed, and there is no other option. I'm going to change things, and there's no other option. And you'd be surprised how much you can change when you have that mentality going into it. I've made so many changes in my life just from that one mindset shift of being I am deciding that this is going to work. Going back to my whole thing about learning to walk again, learning to run, I told myself, I am deciding that I am going to walk in less than 6 months. In by October, which is two months from when I got out of the hospital. The doctor said 6. I said, no, I'm deciding it's going to work. I am doing it, and you can't tell me otherwise. I'm going to prove to you. And I did. Easier said than done, but it's not impossible. And I just hope that helps someone to kind of adopt that mentality. The time's going to pass anyway. Not necessarily an objection, but just like a thing that holds so many people back, that holds people back the most, that they try to approach this without changing their identity, meaning they try to say that they're going to get fit, say that they're going to commit to this, they're going to change their body, blah, blah, blah. But inside, they still feel like they can't do it. Inside, they still think they're going to fail. Inside, they still treat themselves like their body's never going to change. That is pretty much all I got. 3 steps: master the basics, attack each one by one, and then get someone to hold you accountable. That's how you're going to change your body. That's literally what it boils down to. And I hope that this helped you. I hope that this connected with someone who needed to hear it. I know that everything I'm saying is not new information. You've probably heard other coaches say it before. I'm just here to tell my truth and to tell my story and to tell you guys how it worked out for me and how I applied all of this. And yeah, so if you have any questions about how you can apply this to yourself, if you have any insight or anything, feel free to hit me up on Instagram. I'm going to leave it right here. And if you're looking for coaching, if you do want to join one of my challenges and you want to make that investment, take that next step, I'm going to leave the details down below. I hope to see you there. And I hope you apply some of this, and I hope it helped you. I'll see you in the next one.